Hello, my friends, it's me again. But nothing changed here. I still cannot see what I'm doing wrong. So, in the past, I used to see the names of everybody, I used to see the comments, I could read them. And unfortunately, something is strange because I cannot see it, I cannot access. So I don't know if you are connected. I hope you are. I hope you can listen. That's the most important thing. So if you guys can send me a WhatsApp message, then it's great because then I can actually read and I can see if you're listening. But anyway, let's start anyway and let's hope for the best. So again, I'm Angie Stewart from My Inner Light, and we are live now in Kardec Radio. And this study happens bi-weekly on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we study two books. We study Among Brothers of Other Lands, and we study also the Gospel according to Spiritism. And this study was supposed to happen last week, but as you all know, unfortunately, my father-in-law passed away. He is now in the spiritual realm, and I would like to thank all of you that sent positive messages, that said beautiful things. Yes, yes, yes. We know he lives in the spiritual realm. I know he is soon feeling much, much better because he was sick for a long, long time. But it's still painful. It is still difficult for us when a person that we love so much passes to the other side. I can't even talk about that. I already start like this. But I just would like to say thank you. But last week I really couldn't do our study because I was very shaken. But this week I'm a little bit better, controlling my emotions, and we can do our study. I feel very bad that I cannot read any messages from anyone. So if you're reading, unfortunately, I cannot see. I don't know what happened. I probably did something wrong. But as we always do, I would like to invite you to have a bottle of water, a glass of water, because we always like to do a short prayer connecting us with the enlightened spirits to inspire us, to inspire me, and to inspire all of you that are listening right now live or will be listening later on in the recorded mode. So just a few seconds, close your eyes, relax, and let's connect. Dear God, beloved Master Jesus, all our guardian angels, thank you so much for another opportunity of being together, studying Spiritism in English, learning these beautiful teachings, putting these words not just in our minds, but in our hearts, and especially putting in action towards charity, because charity is what will help us. Charity is what will really save us from all the miseries of this world that we are living right now. And one day it will be a beautiful planet where everyone will help each other like real brothers and sisters. Thank you so much. So be it. So, my friends, as we always do, I usually read the text and then we comment. But if you have the book Among Brothers of Other Lands, this is chapter 10, and the title is In Regard to Mediumship. It's a very long chapter. Usually the chapters are 2 pages, 2.5. This has 10 pages. So I cannot do everything at once. Would be too boring for us because it's good to talk and to comment, and of course to read your comments. And as I said, I cannot read your comments. It's a little bit difficult. But before we start, I really want to invite you to read a little bit about some of the personages that we are going to be talking about today. The last time, 2 weeks ago, when I did the same chapter, I did the beginning of the chapter, I talked a lot about Brother X and also about Federico Figner. So in our Facebook page, My Inner Light, I have there lots of information about these two persons that are very important, and it will be really great if you can go back and read about it. When I finish, I believe I will be able to have access to the chat. I don't know why I cannot. And then when I go there, I will put the link so you can click and you can read. So just a little quick refresh for our minds. The text is in regard to mediumship. Who wrote the text, who wrote this chapter is Brother X. So when you go to the page, you will read who was Brother X. But really quick, Brother X, he was a Brazilian writer, he was a poet, and he was a journalist. That's a very good part of him, because his mind is really making questions that would help people to understand subjects. And as we always say, when we discarnate, whatever we were here, we will be in the spiritual realm. So he was a journalist on earth. So when he reached there, when he went to the spiritual realm, he is a journalist. And with his journalistic mind, he started asking lots of questions. He started making lots of interviews to key people that they were important when they were living on earth. And when they go there, he met them and he asked very important questions. So Brother X, his name was Humberto de Campos, and you can read about him later on. This is just for you to have an idea, because in this chapter, Brother X, or Humberto de Campos, he will be interviewing a very famous medium. She was a very famous medium in the United States in the 1800s. And because she was a powerful medium, she was involved in the 1800s with many other mediums or people that were extremely interested in spiritualism, because Spiritism was not born yet. Spiritism per se was born with Allan Kardec. When Allan Kardec decided to start studying the turning tables, the movement of the turning tables in Paris, and then he understood that was not a joke like everybody believed it to be. He understood there was something bigger than tables moving, because as he said, the table did not have a brain, so there was something intelligent behind those tables. So Spiritism was born in that time. And then this lady, she was involved with many people that they were already open-minded in the 1800s, understanding there was life after the death of the body. So her answers are very sharp, concise, and very interesting. So this is good for us to read and to understand. And the person, Humberto de Campos, explained also that he only got this interview with this lady who is extremely busy in the spiritual realm. So this is for you to understand that when we die, when this physical body dies, if you are busy here, you probably will be busy there. Or actually, you will want to be busy there. Because can you imagine how boring it is to have absolutely nothing to do? Okay, you might be thinking, oh, but if I was on vacation, I was going to go to the beach, I was going to do this and that. Yes, it's very good to be on vacation, but have you ever been on a vacation and when it's finished, you were really happy to go back home and go back to your routine? to go back to your house, to have your little things in place, to go back to your work. Yes, because the work help us put us in activity in our brain, our physical bodies. We meet people, we have important times that we have to complete certain things. This all brings to our physical mind the need to keep going and progressing. So to be on vacation is wonderful, but when we have to be on vacation forever, that's a little bit more difficult. So when we go to the spiritual realm, we want to be active. We want to be working. So maybe you don't have that type of a job you have here, but when you go there, you will want to work. And if you believe in Spiritism, like you believe that after the death of this body, your mind, your spirit will continue. You will want to be active, helping others, doing something for yourself to progress, but also towards the others. And that's what it has to be. That's great. And that's what we need. So remember, Federico Figner, he was extremely famous. He actually was born in, I also have his information in a Minor Light page that I will share with you. But he was born in the Czech Republic in the time, Czechoslovakia, and he was from a Jewish religion. He was already living in the United States for a long, long, long time when he moved to Brazil. And he immediately brought the knowledge of the music that in the long players to Brazil. And he ended up starting the company Odeon, that was the first producer of music in Brazil. And he got really rich, really super rich. And then many things happened. He got involved with Spiritism. And later on, his daughter died. And that's when he got even more involved because he started searching for ways that he could get a message from her. It's a long story. It's a beautiful story. There is a book where he tells his story when he woke up in the spiritual realm. I hope you can buy it. I'm not sure if it's in English, but in Portuguese it's voltei. So it's I'm back or I returned. I have to research if there is already some kind of English translation. So now that I said all this, let's go and let's try to see until where we can reach. Therein, at the busy Carnegie Hall room in New York, we met the famous medium to whom we will simply call Mrs. Hayden. We had heard the best references about her in the spiritual plane. By scheduling an appointment through the loving intervention of our friend Fred Figner, we were received by the distinct discarnate lady for a short conversation. Mrs. Hayden, guide of mediumistic issues in various doctrinal circles in the United States, received us with extreme kindness. And because we could see her surrounded by friends, naturally in activities that could not be postponed, we decided to be very straightforward after the fraternal greetings. Mrs. Hayden, we started. If possible, we would like to ask you some questions about mediumship. My experience, said her, has nothing of extraordinary. And smiling, she said, but you may ask whatever you wish, and I will answer what I can. We knew that the interviewed lady, since the beginning of Spiritism in America, was close friends with Judge John Edmonds, Professor Robert Rare, Mrs. James Mapes, Emma Hardwinch, and other pioneers of the spiritual movement on earth. So I mentioned, we do not ignore that you study mediumship since the early years of the spiritual doctrine on earth. So here is saying that she studies mediumship the since the early years of the Spiritist doctrine on earth. So the early years of the Spiritist doctrine on earth. So the Spiritist doctrine is started really in New York State, not New York City, New York State, in a little tiny city called Hydesville. It's in the north of New York, with the Fox sisters. This is another beautiful story that I can also research and put on the page so you can get more information about it. But the Fox sisters, they were mediums, and they were able to hear knocking movements in their house, and they were able to develop a very simple system to communicate with the spirit. This was in 1848. So you have to think that at the same time, this was in New York, the table turning movement was happening all over Europe, especially in Paris. So the tables were moving, people were sitting around the table asking questions, and the table was answering. So in that time, 48, Kardec was there, but he probably was not interested about this because it was more like a game. So imagine, nowadays we have TV, we have video games, we have Netflix, we have so many things. We have iPhones, with Facebook. So we have a lot of distractions, a lot of distractions. In that time, they didn't. And the books were very expensive. Books were very difficult to get. It was not like nowadays. You have book stores everywhere, and you have Amazon that deliver to your house. In that day, it was very, very difficult. And there was also a lot of oppression because the church was extremely strong, and the church was really reading the books, and whatever the church thought was not good, they removed, and you could not have access to that type of information. So Kardec actually starts studying Spiritism in 1850 something. But we know that in 1857, he actually was able to codify the Spirit's book. So the first version of the Spirit's book. If you didn't have an opportunity yet, please watch the movie called Kardec. It's on Netflix, and it was released last week on the 29th. It's a great book. It's a great movie that really makes like a synthesis of his life and how difficult it was for him, the persecution he suffered, and the mediums that helped him. It's very beautiful for us to have like a deeper understanding of what this man was going through and how much he dedicated his life to what we have nowadays, to this beautiful philosophy of life that we have nowadays. So coming back here, he mentions that she was close friends with Judge John Edmonds, Robert Hare, Mrs. James Mapes, and Emma Hardwing. Emma Hardwing actually was a very famous medium born in London. But all the others, they were from New York and from Pennsylvania. They were highly educated people. They were professors. They were the first one, he was a judge. The second one was a chemist. So, and they were all involved in spiritualism, studying it very deeply. So this brings her to this lifetime of the beginning of Spiritism. But who knows if she was an Egyptian, who knows who she was to have had such a strong experience with mediumship. As we know, every time we reincarnate, we improve in certain aspects. And some people develop certain things in a very strong way. Some people are excellent pianists because They already were pianists in many lives. So in this life for them, it's like it comes really quickly. It comes really easy. So imagine for her, maybe, because I don't know, maybe she was a medium in other lives. So this was very natural for her. So let's continue with the dialogue. So I mentioned, we do not ignore that you study mediumship since the early years of the Spiritist doctrine on earth. And she answered, yes, she agreed. I have had this honor. And our dialogue went on. What would you say about mediumship at the present moment of the planet? She answers, it is still a new issue, as new as when we venture to practice it, precisely a century ago. We have a long way ahead of us to examine it, know it, and educate it. But what about science and religion? They are two forces that up to now could not understand. Like science and religion, they could not understand each other. They had this fight forever and never and never. They still have, but nowadays it's a little bit better, but they still have prejudice against each other. It's very difficult, a scientific mind, to really decide to study deeply Spiritism. Maybe she wants to study, but in general, when you want to publish a scientific study about this, they say, no, this is religion. So there is a difficult to be able to they work together. But one day it will be easier. So she continues. Okay. With all the admiration that we should have for them, respecting the exceptions, we shall not ignore that the scientists up to now have made an effort, almost always, not to study it, but to dissect it, like to cut it in tiny little pieces. Someone who dissects grains of green wheat, wishing to find the bread already made. And the religious ones many times only try to stop its flies by means of using mythological approaches, interested in giving prestige to superstition. So her explanation is perfect. She describes really the problem of both sides. The science trying to dissect in such a millimetrical point that is very difficult to understand, because when you reach to that minimum thing, you want to see the whole thing, and you can't. Like when in the past, many scientists tried to put mediums in tests, and many of them did unbelievable tests, and they got great results. But some of them, when they tried to call the press, for example, the reporters, it did not work. So mediumship is like Chico Xavier, the Brazilian medium, used to say, it's a phone call from there here. So it's very difficult for us to do it whenever we want. We have to wait for them. We cannot make this call, but the call comes from there. So sometimes when scientists want the proof, and it's not going to happen. And the same thing as she explained the religious people. The religious people start with this mythological approach that is already overcome. Nowadays, it's not like that. Like, for example, when people say, oh, I only will believe this when the dead people come back to say how life is in the other side. So I tell them, well, so it's better you believe quickly, because this has been happening for a long time. And they say, when have you heard of that person coming back to say anything? I'm like, hello, I'm a medium. But doesn't even need to refer to me as a medium. But there are so many books about it. In Spiritism, we have so much literature, we have so many knowledge, but people choose not to believe. People choose not to read whatever they think it's important. So we cannot impose certain things to people. They have to decide to open their eyes to see what is already there. So he continues. Do you believe, however, that effects of mediumship are held back only by influence of scientists and religious people? By no means. Mediumship is a neutral force, such as magnetism and electricity, that is neither good nor bad in itself. Human beings are the ones who characterize its usage. We all know that thousands of incarnate and discarnate people abuse mediumship as the forgers blackmail with money or impostors, exploiting the word, degrading it in demagogy. So what she said happens until nowadays. So in the time of Kardec, that's why Kardec did not want to be involved in the table turning movement, because for him that was a joke. There were theaters that people used to pay money to see tables moving, tables answering things. So for him, this was a joke involving money. Someone was exploring this. They were having profit with this. And he's like, I don't want to be involved with this type of things. And others, they were using this as a joke, as a entertainment. And nowadays, the same thing. There are mediums everywhere, but people do not like to say that. People are ashamed. They think, if I tell others I'm a medium, if I tell others I see dead people, people are going to think I'm crazy, I'm a schizophrenic. They're going to think I need to go to some kind of psychiatrist to have treatment. So people are afraid to talk about it. Imagine nowadays we are in 2019. Can you imagine in the 1800s when Kardec started researching it and when he needed help from mediums to be able to compile the books? A lot of prejudice. If nowadays we still have prejudice, imagine in that time. So there are mediums everywhere, but people hide this information. They do not want to tell others. And also, there are mediums that know they can see, they can hear, and they think this is a profession. They think, wow, why not to work as a medium? Why not to work helping others? That's how they start thinking, helping others to contact their family members. So the people who do not know Spiritism, they actually think this is okay, because if you have this gift, why not to work with it? That's the mind of people who do not understand Spiritism. Us, who we are Spiritists and we study Spiritism, we understand that whatever you received for free, you have to give for free. So if this is a gift, so if you never studied anything and you were born like that, you should give this for free. Because when you are doing this for free, then you are actually being connected with enlightened spirits who want to help you, who want to guide you. But if you start charging, if you start benefiting financially, or even if you do not charge money, but you accept gifts, this is a way of charging. And the enlightened spirits, they do not lose time with this type of people. They are very busy. They have to do thousands of things. They are not going to be there guiding you or protecting you if you start doing this. So I just want you to understand that this is the Spiritist view of mediumship. That's why we have the Medium's book. The Medium's book is the book where we are going to study what is mediumship, how it happens, why it happens, and how the mediums have to protect themselves, how they have to guide, and not accepting any kind of financial thing is actually a protection for the medium. So the medium is not going to be involved in receiving a lot of money. I know you're thinking, well, but in the United States, there are many very, very famous mediums, very rich mediums. They have TV shows, they have live shows, they have all kinds of things. Yes, yes. And some of them are real psychic mediums. They're real. They are not faking. They are not lying, but they do not have the knowledge we do. So in one way, you can think them as actually doing a good service, because they are opening the minds of thousands of people who actually do not believe in life after death. So these types of mediums, they are actually helping Spiritism, because they are opening up the mind of those people. But when you have the knowledge, when you know whatever you receive for free, you have to give for free, this job can be dangerous and shouldn't be done. And we also know that mediumship should always be performed in a spiritist center, not in your private house, not when you travel with friends. If you can see spirits, that's great, but do not get involved in evoking them or doing anything related to the mediumship phenomena when you are not in a spiritist center. This is also a way to protect you, to protect your home, to protect your environment. Remember the sentence, when you open a door, maybe the windows will be open too. So be careful with what type of thing are you opening. So this is a way for you to protect yourself. So then, let's go to the next one. Mrs. Hayden, do you believe in the possibility of restraining such abuses on Earth by the establishing a central institute of control of the mediumship phenomena on Earth? She answered, this is a question of personal conscience. Can you imagine what would be of the world at the moral level that it still is if only one group of nations or people could control the power of the sun? Mediumistic occurrences belong to the domain of truth. For this reason, they must be free with all creatures at the level of evolution that they are, since we know that every medium will count for their actions to the guiding powers of life regarding what they do of their own gifts. So this is very connected to the first answer. So she said, no, we cannot establish some kind of government or some kind of institution that will govern how mediums will have to behave, because we all have free will. So whenever we have a free will, we will take our actions. We will decide whatever is better for ourselves. But you have to think always, always, before doing anything, just think. If this that I am doing was happening to somebody else, would it be good? Or whatever somebody is going through right now, my actions that influence that situation would be good? So you think and you use your conscience. That's how you have to try. You have to try to do when you spend your whole day, like St. Augustine used to say. Every single day when he went to bed at night, he used to lay in bed and think about every single action he had done through the day. And he used to reflect in everything he did and think, how could I have improved? How could I have done better? Did I do anything wrong? And so the next day he would improve his actions, he would change, he would be better. So what she is saying basically is like, we do not need to worry, because every single person, not just mediums, but every single person when it goes to the spiritual realm will be not judged, but it will be analyzed by whatever they did of good or of bad. And then that they will continue their process of evolution. So do not worry, because this is a natural uh, flow of the river. You know, the river will continue flowing like this, and that's how we are going to continue evolving. We are going to continue our process of evolution. And the mistakes, they happen, but God is good enough to help us to have reincarnation, the beautiful reincarnation, and we learn so much. We see all the mistakes we did, and we study a lot in the spiritual realm. So when we come back, hopefully we are not gonna make the same mistake. We are gonna improve, at least in that area. So it's already 9:42. We have to go to the gospel. So we will stop in this portion here, was in the half of page 41, and we will come back in 2 weeks, and hopefully I will be able to read what you guys are saying. If there is any questions or any comments, I will be able to answer when our video finish tonight. So let's go now to the gospel. It's a beautiful book, very important, and the people do not realize how it is touching, how it guides our lives. And yes, it can be a little bit difficult if you're reading alone, if you don't understand Spiritism well. I know there are a lot of people that are following this channel that are very new to Spiritism. So it sometimes can be difficult. But the Gospel According to Spiritism is the book where Kardec took the teachings of Jesus, the moral teachings, he separated some of them and he went very deep in it. So it helps us to understand, because he takes pieces of the Bible and he puts here, and then he gets comments from the spirits, and then he also insert his comments, his pieces of understanding. So we are in the chapter 5, Blessed are the afflicted, and right now we are going to read the evil and its remedy. So I don't want to read everything. I will read just few pieces and I will make comments on it. I wish I could see if you guys are writing anything so I could answer questions or make it easier, more friendly used, but I can't access whatever you're writing. But I will read and then I will make comments. So just a little portion in the beginning, number 19. Is your earth then a place of joy, a paradise of delights? Does not the voice of the prophet resound any longer in your ears? Did he not proclaim that there would be weeping and gnashing of teeth for those who are born into the valley of pain? You who have gone to live there must therefore expect burning tears and bitter suffering. But no matter how acute and deep your suffering may be, look up to heaven and bless the Lord for having willed to test you. O people, do not acknowledge power of your master only when he has healed the sores of your body and crowned your days with beatitude and joy. So this passage, the Spirit is already telling us that yes, the planet Earth is a planet of tests and atonements. We are already in the regeneration phase, but really in the beginning. So we feel all the situation, of a test on atonements with a lot of pain, a lot of problems, all kinds of disturbances. But this is, if we are here, we are blessed for having an opportunity to live on earth, to have another reincarnation. We already had hundreds, maybe thousands, but we are here still full of problems, developing here, but in the other side, we still are very like a child. So we have a lot to improve, a lot to improve. And the spirit is telling, oh, so you are just happy when everything is beautiful and when you have a lot of joy. So if you are unhappy right now, if you're suffering, it is painful, it is difficult, but you have to have faith. You have to understand the Lord, the Creator, didn't throw us here like a toy, abandoned. No, every single human being, first of all, have a tour. It's almost a tour guide, but it's a guardian angel. You have your private guardian angel that's always helping you. It's always guiding you. It's always inspiring you to take the correct decision. But unfortunately, sometimes we do not listen. We do not listen because we are connected with lower vibration energies. So the guardian angel is talking here, but we are listening here. We cannot reach. So we have to be grateful for everything we have. We have to be grateful even for our problems. Because if we have that problem, it's because we need it. And we are going to read in the next paragraph about it. So let's see. I skip a little bit and I go to the other page. In your state as discarnates, when you were gliding through space, you yourself chose your trial because you believed you were strong enough to bear it. So why complain now? You who asked for riches and glory, it was for bearing the struggle of a temptation and overcoming it. So this is one example. We know that when we are in the spiritual realm, we choose the next trials. So the spiritual guides, they prepare our reincarnation. They will prepare when, which family, which country, what you will be exposed to. And they say, Angela, you have to improve this, this, this gigantic list. So we tell you you can choose, and then they guide you to. And then I'm in the spiritual realm, feeling really bad because I haven't done much in my past life. So I'm like, I want to do it all. I want a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This is like a crazy cake. And then they say, Angela, I think you can't bear so much. Maybe it's a little bit difficult for you. And then hopefully Angela is like, oh, really? Do you think? Okay, what do you suggest? And then they would say, maybe you should take just this and this. What about? And then I said, wow, that's it? It's so easy. And they said, not that easy, but go with that. And then I say, okay, good. So I accept. And maybe I even choose. Can instead of this be that? And they say, okay, it's fine. That's the same level of a difficulty, for example. So I reincarnate. And most of the time, we are the ones who choose whatever we will have to go through. But then when we come here, we complain, we say, oh, my life is a misery, everybody's so happy and I suffer all the time. So instead of seeing the difficulty we are going through that moment as something that I have to learn, if I'm exposed to that, it's because I need to learn with that. Doesn't matter what is the difficulty. It's a family member that you have a hard time to live with. Is it a job that you can't stand your boss? Is it a financial situation? Is it a disease that it's incurable right now? What is the issue? You have to understand that every single person on earth suffers. Yes, everyone suffers, but everyone suffers a different issue. And of course, everybody only posts on Facebook marvelous things. If you believe just in social media, everybody is happy all the time. And we know it's not true. People in general, we just want to post whatever is beautiful, whatever is good. But many times people are suffering really deeply inside. And they get in a way that they get like into a cave and they do not talk to anyone about their problem. And when they meet people, they actually have the mask of happiness. But inside themselves, they are extremely unhappy, extremely insecure, extremely sad by whatever reason. I received a message from a friend a few days ago about the yellow September, because it's the month that we really should be more open about the people that commit suicide. Trying to extend a hand to people that might be going through a difficult situation, might be going through struggles, and they do not want to talk to their parents, they do not want to talk to their husband, their wife, whatever. This is also why spiritist centers are a blessing, because most of the spiritist centers, they offer fraternal counseling. So you can talk about your issues without a family member, a person that you may not want knowing that. So you can open up your heart. So it's really a blessing to have it. But if this person is not a spiritist, there are many lines that you can call. Like, for example, if you are with suicidal thoughts, you can call and there will be someone in the other side that will help you, will guide you, will give you inspired words to help you to understand that killing yourself is not the solution. Even if they don't believe in life after death, they already understand killing yourself is not a solution. There will be always solutions, even if we think it's very difficult. But it will be a solution, and it will be something that we need to go through to overcome it, because maybe that's what we failed in our past life. So you are exposed to that same situation in this life, so you can improve, so you can actually get better. So this is actually what the Spirit is saying. And the other paragraphs, he talks about faith, turning your gaze towards heaven. So faith is really important. People that do not have faith, people that do not believe in anything, people that think that after you die, that's it, they are the ones who commit suicide. Because imagine, if you think, I'm suffering so much, imagine a person that has like a disease that's killing them, a person that's super unhappy, that the life is terrible, they don't have family, it's just absolutely terrible. So they think, why to live? They don't believe in life after death. They think when the body dies, it disappears. They actually think, let's finish with this misery. So this existence will disappear. But unfortunately, even if they do not believe in life after death, when their physical body dies, they will wake up. They will wake up in the same situation, with the same pain, with the same struggles, and now with the same disease. But as we know, a suicide will carry the level of fluid, the energetic fluid he had. For example, if the person was supposed to live 70 years and committed suicide when it was 25. So now you have all those years of vital energy, and this vital energy will need to be little by little distributed. So you will spend many years with your physical body, connected to the physical body, and feeling horrible, feeling the sensations of the body being destroyed by germ, by bugs, by, you know, who knows how you kill yourself. If you jumped, the body is in pieces. So it's extremely painful situation for the suicide. That's why we always say that the suicides, they need our prayers much, much, much more than anyone else, because they need help, they need light. And when people pray for anyone, they receive help. So imagine a suicide who is desperate in the spiritual realm, and you pray, he will have brief moments of a peace, brief moments that he will actually be able to sleep and rest. So it's extremely important for us to pray for them, to try to help them. So this we can summarize the sentence of St. Augustine. Happy are they who suffer and weep. May their souls rejoice, for God will fill them with blessing. So this is really how we have to do. My dog is in the background. we have to see suffering as something that we are overcoming. We will be like going into a new stage. We will be improving in life. It can be difficult, but remember, faith helps us. Faith is unshakable faith. That's what we need to have. Think about the early Christians. We have a friend who is actually reading the beautiful book 2000 years ago, Melissa. And I read this book many times through 20 years. This is my favorite book ever, ever, ever. I love this book. So when she told me she was thinking about this, I'm like, yes, do it, do it. Because this is a book that brings light to us. I love listening to it. And when we read about the first Christians who were brought to the Colosseum and to many other places to be slaughtered by lions, by tigers, alive, they had the unshakable faith that only their bodies were going to die. They were brought there praying, they were brought there singing, they were brought there understanding soon they were going to be transferred to the kingdom of heaven. That's how Jesus used to say, to my Father's home. They had this unshakable faith. So in many books we read that when they were actually attacked by the lions, many times they were actually already disconnected to their physical bodies. So when the lion beat them, their spirit was already disconnected, so they did not feel the pain. They were removed, so they do not feel the pain of the attack, because they were so strong in their faith. And that's how we have to be. I know that you're thinking, oh my God, this is very difficult, it's impossible. No, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. If the little faith we have, it already helps us so much. Because many times we think, oh, this is impossible, you never do, it's never gonna happen, blah, 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 blah. And then you focus a little bit, you pray, you connect with your guardian angel, because when you're here, you're depressed, you're here, what problems? And you close your eyes, oh, please, God, help me, I don't see solution. And then you feel better. And then the good spirits that are here, they say, oh, Angela needs help. And then they connect with us. And then they give us ideas. They do not answer everything, but they give ideas. Oh, what about if you call that person? What about if you got out of your house and you went here? What about if you send an email to this? So they guide you. They give you inspiration. And many times we are so ungrateful. We don't even thank God for whatever happens. We just say, oh, I was so lucky to meet you here. Wow, what a coincidence. People, there are no coincidences. There are no coincidences in life. I read a book many, many years ago called The Prophecy Celestine. Oh, in English, I think it's The Celestine Prophecy. And this is a spiritualist book. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it was the first book who actually said a sentence that marked me forever. There are no coincidences. There are concentration of energy. I was like, wow. So what is concentration of energy? Is our faith. Is our faith being connected with our guardian angels or the good spirits, and they inspiring us to have a solution to whatever we are going through. So my friends, time is here. So I just would like to thank you so much for being with us, to listening to my words. Unfortunately, I couldn't answer anything. I couldn't see anything. I will disconnect and I will see it now, and I will answer if there is any questions. And thank you so much to be here. And I would like now just to invite you for a short prayer, and then we can connect with our guardian angel. Okay? Dear God, beloved Master Jesus, thank you so much for being with us again, inspiring, guiding, and helping as always. Please send this loving energy to all our friends who are listening in their homes, and also to the ones who will be listening to this in the future. And please help us to be able to continue our improvements on a daily basis, and help and come back here again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much. So be it. My friends, I actually would like to invite all of you in your homes tonight, if you could say a prayer to our friends from the Bahamas. I live in Miami. As you know, a few days ago, the Hurricane Dorian was coming direct here, but unfortunately for the Bahamian people, the hurricane was stopped there for 7 to 8 hours. So it never happened before. It's something that never happened. The hurricanes, they are in a hurry. They are fast. They come destroying everything and they leave. And this stayed forever. So the destruction there was enormous. I'm collecting donations and I'm bringing tomorrow to the Bahamian church in my neighborhood. And many, many people here in Miami are also collecting. But wherever you are, please do a prayer for them so they can have this unshakable faith that we just said a few minutes ago. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.